What is going on, everyone? It is Super here, and welcome to another Mortal Kombat X video. Today, I have another Q&A video for you guys, and I'm finally doing a commentary again. I've actually been very sick for the last few days, and I haven't been able to make any content whatsoever except for montages. And that's the first thing that I want to talk about before I answer any questions is, I got a lot of requests to do montages from, even way back in the day. But I never got around to doing them just because I have uploaded so many Mortal Kombat X ranked videos that it's hard to, it was hard to process in my head going through all those videos and picking out some highlights, but I did it, guys. I went all the way back to the very beginning, the first ranked video that I uploaded back in May of 2015. That was the very first clip that you guys saw in the montage. By the way, it's going to be linked in the description. If you guys don't know what the hell I'm talking about, make sure you guys go check it out. It's pretty fun to watch. But I took an entire day to skim through a bunch of pages, maybe 60 to 65 pages worth of Mortal Kombat X videos, and trust me, guys, it took me the entire day, literally 8 to 10 hours just watching videos. And that was actually one of my favorite things, or one of my favorite parts about doing these montages, because I got to go back and watch the very first videos that I uploaded ranked matches for, and they are awful, man. I was so bad. But it's fun to see, the progression and how much better I am today than, of course, compared to when I started, man. Oh my God, some of those matches were really bad. But the montages are definitely going to continue. Thank you guys for the amazing feedback. It has over 1,000 likes. Pretty much every comment that I read was positive, and you guys seem to really enjoy them, so that makes me happy. And I have a lot of fun editing them too. Like I said, just looking at those old clips is really fun. So I'm definitely going to keep doing them, but I'm not going to upload them too often. You know what I mean? I don't want them to become like boring. I want them to be like fresh. So I'm thinking for the moment, I'm going to upload them maybe once a week. And then if it starts to decline in views and comments, stuff like that, people start getting bored of them, I'll switch it to every 2 other weeks. Because I definitely want to keep it fresh. I want it to be like a highlight video where I upload and a lot of people watch. Because the montages are really fun. It's just like the best moments, the worst moments. By the way, if you guys have a better title than the best and worst of Super, I don't know if you guys think that's a good title or not. I just thought about it, on the fly. It's really simple, and I was just gonna keep calling them that, like the best and worst of Super, in number 2, number 3, number 4 as the montages go on. So if you guys have any better title suggestions, let me know. But enough about that, man. God, I went on a tangent, 3 minutes talking about this, but you guys seem to really enjoy it, so wanted to thank you guys. But let's get started with the actual Q&A, what this video is supposed to be. So the first question here comes from Wayne, and he asks, do you think Farrah will be in MK11? I'm assuming he meant Farrah because, spoiler alert, click off the video, Farrah ends up being like the Tor monster. Farrah starts off as the little girl and then ends up growing into the Tor monster. So yeah, I actually do think that Farrah Tor is going to be in MK11. Farrah Tor is actually a fan favorite character. People just don't use Farrah Tor because he's really hard to use and like really complicated if you don't go into training mode and look at all his tools. But I do think Farrah Tor will be in Mortal Kombat 11. Next question here comes from Mitaka, and he asks, who do you think is the hardest character to play in MKX? Like you wouldn't recommend it for a beginner. I don't know, man. I think Devora in Swarm Queen is pretty hard, but if you get her cancels down, she could be S tier character. A lot of the cancel characters, I would definitely say, those are the harder characters, like Dragon's Fire Liu Kang, Ayla's Johnny Cage. All these characters that have run cancels are amazing characters if you know how to run cancel properly and if you spend time in practice mode. So definitely the run cancel characters are the ones that I would say stay away from if you're a beginner. Moving on here, Shin asks, is it rare for you to see Kung Lao players online now? And oh boy, yeah, it definitely is, man. I remember back when Kung Lao was at the plus 27 orbiting hat, you would see a Kung Lao every other match, but now it's a rarity. And I think that, you know, the majority of players who do play Kung Lao are very good because they, you know, they like Kung Lao as a character and they stuck with him. But I definitely don't see nearly as many Kung Laos as I did before. Seamus asks, would you rather have Ermac or Aaron Black in MK11? This is one of the toughest questions that I gotten asked because, as you guys know, Aaron Black is my favorite character in Mortal Kombat X. He's actually very close to surpassing Sector as my favorite character in Mortal Kombat history. That's how much I love Aaron Black. But if I had to choose, just right now, I would probably put Ermac in MK11 before I would put Aaron Black. Yeah, blasphemous, blasphemous. But I would probably do that just because Ermac is more of a classic character. You know, I believe both of them will be in MK11, but Ermac deserves the respect of being, you know, one of the biggest fan favorite characters and a classic character from way back in the day. So I would probably put Ermac over Aaron Black at this very moment of answering the question. So moving on here to what might be the final question. Marvin asked, do you think Chameleon will ever come back to Mortal Kombat? And I think there's a chance for Chameleon to be in future Mortal Kombat games, especially Mortal Kombat 11, because you know, he's still in the MK like universe, like he's still alive. You know, there's a couple of, you know, Easter egg intros from Reptile and a couple other characters where they talk specifically about Chameleon. So I do think he does have a chance to make it into MK at some point. Next question here comes from Soulrun, and he asks, Super, what is your favorite character in MK9? It will definitely be Sector. And last question here comes from Andrew, and he asks, do you think Netherrealm would incorporate the gear system in MK11? And I'm not really sure. I don't think they would incorporate it to MK11. I think it's something that fits in very well with Injustice because, you know, superheroes have different adaptations of, you know, their storylines and their looks. So it's a perfect way for them to have different looks for their characters without having too many costumes. You know what I mean? Like Injustice had a ton of costumes and there was still, you know, a ton more that they could have done with costumes. So the gear system is a good way for them to do that. But I will say, if they make a ton of fucking money, which I'm sure they will because of microtransaction, they will incorporate something along the lines of a gear system for MK11. Money talks, baby. So if it makes them a lot of money, it will make it into future games. So that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.